Okay, let's picture this. A city, incredibly famous across the ancient world. We're talking serious wealth, beauty, a trading network so vast it basically ruled the seas.
Yeah, imagine a ship, like the perfect ship, built with the best stuff from everywhere, crewed by people from all over, just sailing the ocean.
It's a powerful image, and it comes straight from an ancient text we're diving into today, chapter 27 of the book of Ezekiel. It's this intense lament.
That's right. Our goal here is to unpack Ezekiel's really vivid description of Tyre. How it saw itself, how it was built, its amazing connections.
And importantly, its prophesied fall. It's quite dramatic.
Exactly. We want to see what this ancient story tells us about power, about wealth, interconnectedness, things that maybe still resonate.
So let's jump right in. The text starts almost immediately with Tyre's own view of itself. It literally says, "I am perfect in beauty."
Wow. Okay. No false modesty there.
Not at all. It wasn't just saying it was strong or rich. It's like peak perfection. Aesthetically, functionally, everything.
And that perfection, it seems, was tied directly to the sea, right? Its domain was the high seas.
Yes, the text is very clear. Its builders perfected its beauty there, on the sea. It wasn't just located by the water. It was the sea, embodied in this amazing ship metaphor.
Okay, so let's talk about the ship itself. The text gets incredibly specific about its construction, doesn't it? Like where every piece came from.
That's fascinating. The basic timbers, the hull, pine from Sinir. So good sturdy wood, probably local-ish.
Makes sense, practical start, but then?
Then you get the mast, like the symbolic heart of the ship. Cedar from Lebanon, instantly recognizable, valuable, the best wood for the job.
So already sourcing premium materials, what about the oars?
Oaks from Bashan. Again, specific wood for a specific heavy-duty purpose, but it's not just about strength. The deck. Cypress wood from Cyprus, which is beautiful on its own, but then it's inlaid with ivory.
Ivory. On the deck. Okay, so we're moving way beyond practical shipbuilding now. That's pure luxury.
Exactly. It's like building a floating palace. And the sail, which acts kind of like its banner.
Let me guess. Something fancy.
Fine embroidered linen from Egypt. Think about Egyptian textiles, high status, intricate work.
Unbelievable. And I bet the awnings weren't just canvas.
You got it. Blue and purple fabric from the coasts of Elisha. Purple dye back then was, well, it was like gold, wasn't it?
Absolutely. The color of royalty. Immense wealth. So just looking at the materials, Tyre's perfection is literally built from the resources of the whole known world.
It really hammers home that it wasn't self-sufficient. Its very structure was this mosaic of international parts and skills.
And that extends to the people too, right? The crew, the defenders. It wasn't just Tyrians running the show.
Not at all. The text breaks that down too. The oarsmen, the basic labor pulling the ship. Men from Sidon and Aravad. Neighbors, also sea people.
Okay, so they provided the muscle, but the skilled navigators, the ones who really knew the sea.
Those were Tyre's own men. They kept the core expertise, the piloting skills, in-house, it seems.
Makes sense. And you need maintenance on a ship like that, especially a wooden one.
Definitely. And the text mentions the shipwrights, the experienced craftsmen doing the vital caulking of the seams. They came from Jabal. Another specific skill set from a specific place.
So materials from everywhere, labor from neighbors, core skills from Tyre itself, and specialized craftspeople from elsewhere. It's complex.
And then there's the military side, also international. Soldiers from Persia, Lydia, and Put were in Tyre's army.
Wow, Persia and Lydia, those are major powers. So Tyre was hiring mercenaries or had alliances.
The text implies they served in Tyre's army. And get this, their role wasn't just fighting. It says they brought splendor by hanging their shields and helmets on Tyre's walls.
So their military gear was part of the city's decoration, part of that perfection and beauty.
Seems like it. It's a display of power and connection. And the guys actually guarding the walls and towers. Men from Arvad, Halek, and Gamad. More diverse groups.
So the city's operation, its defense, even its look, it all relied on pulling in people and power from all over. It really paints a picture of an ancient form of globalization, doesn't it?
It really does. Challenges any idea that these ancient powers were isolated islands. Tyre's strength seems to have been deeply rooted in its network.
And nowhere is that network clearer than when the text talks about trade. This is where it gets almost overwhelming.
Yeah, the text calls Tyre the merchant of peoples on many coasts, the gateway to the sea. And the list of who traded what is just staggering.
It really is the core of Tyre's power described here. It wasn't just trading, it was the central market. Maybe we shouldn't list every single item, but focus on the sheer range.
Good call. We'd be here forever otherwise.
Right, so you've got places like Tarshish, way out west, sending basic but crucial metals, silver, iron, tin, lead.
Then Greece, Tubal, Meshech trading in slaves and bronze goods, so metals and people.
And Beth Togarmah sending animals, workhorses, war horses, mules, vital for transport and warfare.
Then you jump to luxury. Rhodes and other coastlands sending ivory tusks, ebony, exotic, high-value stuff.
Aram sends turquoise, that incredibly expensive purple fabric again, embroidery, linen, coral, rubies, just pure luxury goods.
But it's not only luxury from far away. Closer neighbors like Judah and Israel are sending food, wheat, confections, honey, oil, balm, essential supplies.
Damascus sends specific regional products. Wine from Helbon, wool from Zahar. It shows specialized local economies feeding into Tyre.
Even really specific things are listed, like saddle blankets from Dedan, or wrought iron, cassia, calamus from the Danites, and Greeks from Uzal, spices, metals.
And Arabia and Kedar are trading livestock, lambs, rams, goats.
While Sheba and Ramah, further south, bring the absolute top-tier goods, the finest spices, precious stones, gold.
And still others like Haran, Asher, trading finished goods, beautiful garments, blue fabrics, embroidery, colorful rugs.
Wow. Listing even some of it like that. It's just incredible. Tyre wasn't just a port. It was like the Amazon warehouse of the ancient world. Everything flowed through it.
Yeah. Exactly. Raw materials, food, animals, manufactured goods, luxury items, military supplies. Everything converged there. It was this massive aggregation and distribution hub.
And the text mentions the ships of Tarshish, probably meaning large ocean-going vessels being filled with Tyre's heavy cargo right there in the heart of the sea. It gives a sense of the sheer volume.
Yeah. So Tyre's wealth, its power, its influence, that whole perfect in beauty idea. It's all fundamentally built on being the indispensable center of this huge, complex web of global trade.
It makes the city seem almost invincible, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Built from the best materials, crewed by skilled people, defended by international forces, and the hub of all commerce.
It really does. The text spends so much time building up this incredible image of power and perfection, and you think, what could possibly touch this?
But then, the tone shifts dramatically. After all that description of glory, the prophecy turns to destruction, and it's pictured like a shipwreck.
Yeah, the beautiful ship Tyre gets taken out to the high seas, out where it's most exposed, most vulnerable.
And the cause of destruction. It's not another empire, not a siege, at least not initially in this part of the prophecy. It's the wind.
Right. The east wind will break you to pieces in the heart of the sea. Just like that, an elemental force.
After listing all those armies and trade goods, it comes down to the wind. That feels significant. It's so sudden, uncontrollable.
It really highlights a kind of ultimate vulnerability, I think. Despite all the human planning, the global network, the military strength, it suggests Tyre is still fragile, susceptible to forces totally outside its control, like the unpredictable sea itself.
Yeah, it undermines that whole sense of man-made perfection and control.
And the description of the aftermath, the loss, it's just as detailed and devastating as the buildup was glorious.
Everything goes down. The wealth, the merchandise, the wares, and all the people. Every category is listed. Mariners, seamen, shipwrights, merchants, soldiers. Everyone on board sinks. Total loss.
And the impact radiates outwards instantly. The text says the shorelands quake just from the sound of the sailors' cries.
Imagine that sound. And people who were connected to Tyre, maybe on nearby ships, the ones handling oars, they just abandon their own ships. They stand on the shore watching it happen.
They go from being part of the system, maybe benefiting from it, to just shocked bystanders, stunned into inaction.
And their reaction is pure grief. The text describes intense mourning rituals, crying bitterly, throwing dust on their heads, rolling in ashes, shaving heads, wearing sackcloth. These are signs of absolute devastation in the ancient world.
Deep, deep mourning. And they sing a lament, a specific one that echoes the whole chapter. Who was ever silenced like Tyre, surrounded by the sea.
Silenced. That's a powerful word. It emphasizes the totality, the finality of it.
Yeah.
This wasn't just a setback, it was annihilation.
And the text describes the reaction of the wider world, too, especially those who were part of Tyre's network. They remember how Tyre used to satisfy nations and rich kings.
They remember the benefits. They were plugged into this system.
But now, they're appalled. Kings physically shudder with horror. Their faces are described as distorted with fear.
Fear for Tyre or fear for themselves now that the center is gone?
Probably both, wouldn't you think? And the merchants, the ones who directly profited from Tyre's trade, the text says they hiss at the ruin.
Hiss. That's such a strange reaction. Scorn. Disgust. Or maybe that fear again.
It's chilling, isn't it? Hissing at the wreckage of the very thing that made them rich. It suggests a complex mix of reactions, none of them good.
And the final verdict is just absolute. You have come to a horrible end and will be no more, period.
So the whole chapter takes you on this journey, this incredibly detailed picture of a city whose power and self-image are built entirely on its global connections, its trade, its diverse workforce.
Only to show that same interconnected system as potentially fragile, vulnerable to sudden collapse from an unexpected force. And the collapse impacts everyone connected to it, causing horror and grief.
Yeah, the text meticulously links the rise to connection and material wealth, and then depicts a fall that's catastrophic precisely because of those connections.
So wrapping up our deep dive into Ezekiel 27, we've really traced Tyre's story as told here. From its proud self-description, perfect in beauty,
Through its construction using global resources, its reliance on international crews and defenders, and that truly astonishingly detailed map of its trade network.
to the sudden, violent imagery of its destruction by the east wind like a shipwreck.
And finally, the shock waves of that fall, the mourning, the fear, the hissing from the very world that Tyre once dominated and enriched.
I think the key takeaway is how vividly this ancient text portrays a power that seemed invincible because of its interconnectedness and wealth.
Yet it suggests that very interconnectedness could be its Achilles heel, leading to a sudden, total collapse observed with horror by everyone involved.
It makes you think, doesn't it? This incredibly detailed account from centuries ago, focusing so intensely on a city's rise and fall through its global connections and trade.
Yeah. What can this ancient lament teach us, perhaps, about the potential vulnerabilities in our own complex, globally interconnected systems today? It's definitely something to chew on.